Winthrop take the series and keep themselves alive in Challengers one more week, and to end it on overtime, at least both teams went out with a fight. That ended up really being exciting, Vans.
Definitely was second match. I thought it would have been a victory by MORI. I'm going to stand by it until we realize what was happening through the chaos. And especially in the moments that Winthrop University were just shining in moments where they could just stand out in the open and flick so many shots because there was a lack of protocols going in from the double swings to make sure that you guarantee trades coming out from MORI. So it was a great thing, a great showing from Winthrop University to take advantage of that weakness, because everything that we've mentioned from that first map to the second map where they were lacking a little bit of proactiveness, they at least had that in some great lurks coming out from their Sentinel player on the side of MORI. But man, through the chaos, it was just unfortunately what was the pain point of MORI in this split so far for the Swiss stage. And unfortunately, they couldn't correct it against Winthrop today.
Yeah, that was the really tough part, right? That protocoling that you're talking about, just not having those countdowns for some swings, going for a couple of those solo engagements, especially when they were expecting some of these fights here as well. And I think we're going to compare and contrast a little bit more on the Sentinel players for both squads. We talked about how Moogs had a lot of success over on Fracture with a lot of the lurks that we saw coming through. It was a very similar look from Ghost, I want to say, on the attacking side of MORI. That's why we saw that initial half end out in that 8-4 is Ghost was a hero in a lot of those rounds where the players that were actually grouped up and playing together were following. He was there available for that backstab, but once we got to that second half, it was a similar story coming out for Moog. He was a giant threat the entire time.
Yeah.
Crazy to see that we're even 8 and 11 for both sides on that post plant, and a lot of it came down to those Sentinels.
I also wanted to talk about the agent composition change coming out from Winthrop University to bringing out the KO. So as we preface the matchup on this second map, there was going to be a lot of flash and dashes to allow to activate Infiltrator to get some good entries. But overall, it was a lot of the KO knife at the beginning of the rounds that allowed Winthrop University to get not only a lot of information, but a lot of the spacing in the first place. If you look at the defensive side from Winthrop University, that simple knife that gets thrown from street all the way towards B main at long, that doesn't ping anybody, is still a great amount of space taken and time delay to allow Infiltrator to move up and fully take control of the long B site. And he never needed pop flashes to fight. When you actually have MORI swinging one by one at that moment in those instances as well, I mean, you just saw the results towards the end. So we're lacking that again, a little bit of utility or a game plan to really try to answer back onto the aggression coming out here from the defensive side of Winthrop University.
And you know what we didn't lack, though? A really good darn duelist. Can we just give a round of applause for Infiltrator? Don't do it into your mics, but at least metaphorically, Infiltrator popped the heck off today. Needed to step up in the biggest of ways and did exactly that. Great first blood percentage, opened up a lot of these rounds and got away with absolute murder. Ash walking up with the up, we had our jaws on the floor.
We really did, and Vance was even touching on it earlier, right? Yes, Infiltrator was the flashy player here on Pearl, but a lot of the positions he was able to find himself in were due to Ali looking to set him up with some of those pop flashes that he'd throw out, and then you've got the Cloudburst dash in going in from Infiltrator just to look for a reposition to get a couple of those frags down, which was done really nicely as far as that synergy goes. And to be fair, some of it was also some protocoling issues with MORI not exactly being prepared for a lot of those engagements that Infiltrator was looking for as well, even though after a certain point, you really expected it to happen because there's a very similar stylistic way of engaging that we saw coming out from them each time.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Infiltrator heard what I was saying at the beginning of the series, where I'm like, I love Winthrop University on paper, but sometimes they can't come out shooting. And that second map, he definitely did. And if you looked at how he scaled on those maps and got the most value out of those kills, yes, the stinger buys that he had, the 4Ks on the force buy of that second round was just him being a lot more aggressive. But if anything, the engagement that he was getting was all close range. Through mid doors, dashing away, getting a pick. Through the front smoke of a site, getting a kill, dashing away. So it wasn't like a let's fight behind those enemy lines that I was trying to look out from the pop flashes from the KO coming in. It was just Infiltrator setting up the slow scale into the map that allowed the rest of the team to follow behind and just flood in as a team after. So I love the game plan coming out from Winthrop University. Much different than what we saw here from the last season of Challengers. And I think it's also thanks to the great coaching coming out from Ali.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually have Ali on the line after an incredible win today. I got to sit down with the multi-talented coach and substitute player. Now, thanks for sitting with me and being ready so fast. You avoid elimination. How is the team handling matches like this when the stakes are so high?
I mean, we're just handling it how we should be, right? We're going into every day with the mindset of practicing, improving on ourselves, right? Whether that's through ranked or we're scrimming, right? I mean, it's busy. I mean, it's hard because we're all busy with like classes and our own personal obligations, but we've been getting the practice in. So, I mean, a match like this is a lot of pressure too. It's a do or die. I know I was very nervous, at least subbing in for the first time.
Yeah, but as soon as we heard it, everyone was super excited because everyone seems to know how good you are actually at playing and that we're even surprised that you're coaching. That's how much people think you're goated. So could you actually elaborate on your substitution and sort of what kind of adjustments the team had to do around you, maybe compositionally or otherwise?
Composition-wise, it allowed Ishan to play a little bit more of a comfortable role. Obviously, it's my first time playing Initiator. But what the team needed was like a second voice. Like Ishan is the IGL. But I subbed in today to be that secondary voice, mid-rounding, pre-rounding as much as I can, making reads all around the map. So yeah, so the team needed a secondary voice. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Should we expect Jerk next week then, or school in the way?
As of
Hopefully.
right now, it's still just going to be me subbing in for this next upcoming match.
Okay, good to know. We'll spread the word and we'll look out for you there. But now let's kind of focus in on your coaching role. So tell us about your coaching style. Now you've had a little bit of time with the team. What are you focusing on with them?
Things I focus on is just like I try to work individually with each person because I feel like I could find the individual mistakes that everybody makes, and it's okay. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, right? But I'm just there to sort of help point it out for them. And I also try to find, I try to help with the team coordination, right? So whether that's how we should go into fights, how we should take our duels together, ways we should be rotating around the map, things of that nature. I mean, again, this is my first time coaching, so I'm not really like a strategy coach. I'm more of a working individually and working with the team.
Yeah, and I'm sure as like a player, like your perspective is very appreciated. And with this team that's been together for so long, must be difficult coming in, but that extra set of eyes, I'm sure, is going to help them a lot in the long run. And so what needs to happen going forward to win every single match and try to get into playoffs?
I think I just need to get back in form. The second half was looking a little rough for me. But no, just seriously, I think the way we look right now is beautiful. I think that's how we should be looking. Honestly, just more practice time, right? I just started subbing in. I think we only had like maybe 2 days of practice with me. We're figuring out the comps, right? Because obviously I'm new to Initiator. So once we have time on figuring out what agent I should be playing and having more cohesion with the team, me and Ishan IGL co-IGLing, I think we'll be looking good for next week, and I think we have a real good chance to make playoffs.
Well, I just think it's incredible with so little practice and you subbing in, first time Initiator, that you guys were able to pull off a win. So I hope you guys are able to celebrate and be confident going forward. And thank you so much for the interview. Congrats on today, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'll see you guys next week.
All right. Thanks, Ali. That was Ali, player, coach extraordinaire, first time Initiator, first up with the team, and on so little practice. That is insane. Looking forward to seeing if Winthrop can keep clutching up, because they are still on the brink of elimination, but it's one step closer to turning it all around and getting into playoffs. But we have one more match ahead of us, y'all. Blue Otter versus SAD Esports, both sitting at 2-2. You won't want to miss that. Stay tuned. yeah, there's no stopping on this train. Okay, our last match of the day features two teams in perfect balance, 2-2, who climb closer to playoffs or begin their descent into relegation. And returning to our eyeballs again is the Otters in blue against the boys feeling blue. Van's big excited for our blue matchup. Who gets to keep the blue logo?
That dude, I'm gonna get so. Thank God I'm not casting this game, because if not, I'd be so confused about looking at the logos and stuff like that as well. But it is gonna be a very good game overall. I think both of these two teams are also like a mid-pack, both mid-pack teams that have a lot of potential to really go on a deep run. Like one of those moments where they could pop off on 1 week and tie in a couple of weeks together, and they could actually have a deep run and upset a lot of the top teams. I think these two teams for me are like the TSM of last year, where they'll have these shining moments, especially going through from Blue Otter's side. From what we saw yesterday against YFP, despite their loss, they still had like some good macro and great firepower around this team.
I'm looking at this roster. I'm sure Zeldris is still playing, but Ash, I think the Blue Otter stocks are on the rise, especially because of him. But overall, how much they've improved, and even the experience that Bob brings from game changers to other types of experiences, this is a team that I'm looking out for.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for Bob, not even just game changers, but also like being back on Sonics like back in the day as well,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not Bob's first rodeo within like the open scene here for Valorant. And just to give a little bit of a nod, I actually believe that Zeldris is going to be back into the server today, and while he should not be playing, and we saw the firepower that Zeldris is able to bring for this squad here as well. Yeah, we got a
That's why we couldn't find Zeldris. We still can't, so we're just gonna put his name.
Guess the Valorant player, guys.
It's Zeldris. Ba, ba, ba. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh no.
IPs.
That's so
Let's forget it.
cursed.
Yeah, let's go for the next one.
Yeah, prod mute, please.
Well, let's just, focus in on those Zeldris stats, because this has been such a huge change for this team, slotting in perfectly. And Ash especially, I felt like Zeldris was very threatening against YFP last week, even though it resulted in a loss.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough loss for them, but like you were saying, he was not slowing his role whatsoever. Been a very consistent player for the likes of Blue Otter ever since he has stepped up. And that's also, again, difficult too, right? Because you've got Bob swapping off the duelist role that she was on, and then Zeldris looking to slot into the system, and looking pretty good, all things considered, despite that difficult loss. It's just a lot of firepower coming up from him. I think the setup is really nice there, and it allows Bob to reprise her supportive role on that initiator too.
Yeah.
I agree. And you know who supports Zeldris? Just this entire team. And to be able to come into a team that has that chemistry, just needs a bit more firepower. I think Zeldris brings a lot to the table, Vance.
Definitely. And I think if I'm looking back here for his game against YFP yesterday, though, he definitely did his mark, but also YFP did a very good, I mean, it's still YFP we're talking about here, right? So
Yeah.
YFP did a very good job to shut down Zeldris, to not give him a lot of first blood opportunities. Even if you're looking at a couple of these maps, I think the Fracture one, he was unsuccessful on even getting any, that said. But still, it doesn't take away from anything that he brings into a roster overall. So now that you're in, I like to say again, even footing against NA Esports, there's an opportunity right now to really see the full value and potential of what Zeldris brings into this roster. And he's probably gonna be a lot more lights out than he was yesterday.
And another person who I think had a great performance against YFP is Zeke, bouncing back after a quieter previous match. Seemingly looks more buffed, obviously in the game, against with Zeldris commanding the helm, Ash.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Zeke, he pairs really nicely with Zeldris and how aggressive he's looking to play, setting him up really nicely, because we're typically going to be seeing Zeke on that flash, on that breach, and just allowing Zeldris to take the space that Zeke is creating for him. And then we even saw like a couple of fun backstab opportunities coming out from Zeke, as far as nice repositions and whatnot. But this dynamic duo playing really nicely together, considering again that it's only been these last two matches that Zeldris has really slotted in here for the likes of Blue Water.
And Vance, are you convinced that now that Zeldris is in this lineup, they're good to go, or how much more time do they need before they reach a peak form? How close to their peak form are they?
I think they're going to be looking pretty good too. I don't think they're at the limit right now, and it didn't look bad at all in terms of what Zeldris is bringing to the table. And again, it's thanks to the support of what Zeke was bringing on that map that we saw earlier on Lotus. I think he dropped 12 assists to be able to allow Zeldris and the rest of the team to get good value here on their, I think it was their attack side, if I'm not mistaken here at this point. So overall, I think as a unit, Blue Otter, sorry, there you go, with my confusion around the Blues, but Blue Otter still looks pretty good right now as a complete roster. So it's still going to be a tough match no matter what. But Zeldris, I think, just slots in quite well. And after 1 week of being able to play an official match with the team right now, and then also getting an extra couple of days to VOD review, or I guess 1 night to VOD review, and making sure that you iron out what you could actually maximize and min-max in a short amount of time, they could definitely come out here swinging a little bit better than they did yesterday.
Sure, like they have a solid foundation, and now you just have to build up from here on out. And you're at a 2-2 spot where it's not do or die yet, but it's getting pretty close. And Blue Otter have taken wins against Hakiki, MORI, and Burger Boys, so being able to punch down, but can they punch up? And their opponent, Sad. Now they're a team that everyone's been keeping their eye on. They played close to Trust and Plug, but can they trust themselves to close out a series, Ash? That's what I'm really worried about, because they got some, solid players like around Northwood on this team.
Yeah, they really do. I do like a couple of the players here on SAD Esports. You have some of that just natural chemistry that's built in to this roster with Furbsa, Benji, and Dip. And then you've also got Zerona and Tuzi to round things out here on the likes of SAD, right? And it's nice because there's that chem that's been built up over time. But then you also look towards, I guess, some of the matches. You just talked about their results recently, being able to take their most recent one up against Burger Boys, but that was a hard fought one. And against the Burger Boys that honestly hasn't been looking too great this season, despite I think some of the expectations with the players that we saw on that roster. But their matches, I would say, have generally been maybe slightly more difficult than the ones that Blue Otter has had to face up against with the wins that we saw coming out from them.
Yeah, and they still put a pretty decent fight against Qubit Academy. I mean, it's still a 9-13 and a 6-13, but as in second week coming in after a victory against Core, it's still a great continuation here for this team. For one side, when we just witnessed the Winthrop University with Ali as a sub coming in, Ali the bot usually, as he calls himself, definitely not a bot in the server. He was also a key component to that roster that we're currently seeing here, that iteration of SAD Esports of Northwoods, and that allowed for them to get such a deep run in that Rebel Campus Clutch 2 years ago. So again, I'm living in the past, but it also, for me, it just showed like I had a lot of confidence with this roster, with this team, based on what I witnessed from 2 years ago. The only thing right now is that the meta changed a lot throughout the years, and that Dip seemed like he was very, very fond and adamant to maintain the silver role despite more initiator agents coming out, for example, like a Fade or something as well. But now with the Tejo, you have a little bit more of Dip stepping away from time to time, depending on the maps, and adding a little bit more Tejo and a little bit more depth in terms of, those agents outside of just a Silva. So this is going to help again open up some spaces for him to call with this Tejo as the agent that most recently came out. So I'm quite confident of what SAD Esports could accomplish now with this team.
And Dip can handle those high pressure moments, being able to pull off that many clutches, and there's a lot of responsibility on these initiators to pick up the Tejo and to fit it in their pool, Ash. And I think Dip has really stepped up to the plate for SAD.
No, that's for sure. And I think it's always nice having the recon player being able to IGL for the team here as well. And just especially when you're looking for some of those like set plays, find that information to help set up for Furbsa, and then allow for that kind of mid-rounding to come out from Zerona there as well. So it's nice and well-rounded. They have that natural chemistry, and it's about now this litmus test of these two teams. I think that you look towards SAD Esports, and maybe you consider them like maybe a slight edge up against Blue Otter. I feel like this one is a really, really close matchup for either side, and it can be hard to say actually if they're. I don't even actually think there's an underdog in this one. I feel like they're pretty evenly. No, it's pretty even weight class. Yeah.
At least looking at the duelists, like I feel like Zeldris has had a bigger moment in the spotlight in Challengers, and looking at Furbsa, we could zoom in on his stats. I think this is a big year for Furbsa to prove himself in the Challenger scene, to be the hero for SAD, as all duelists should. But, he can pull off as many clutches, Vans, and he could deliver those first bloods, and you need all of that from Furbsa.
Yeah, and he's a complete player because he actually went from different roles to different roles depending on what they kind of needed from him in different iterations of the teams that he's played in. I think he went from like a controller role if I'm not mistaken, to maybe even a Sentinel, and now going into as a main duelist here for the team, which actually works out because you know that he has these moments. You were just talking about him being good in the clutches. That's the Sentinel genes that he brings in. So to have that experience to play that many reps going into official matches rather, and getting that experience of the game sense of how to play the 1v1s and how to play the clutches. Now you have that opportunity to leverage that game sense on your entry capabilities now on a duelist, to know where your opponents are going to be stacked up on, because you used to play the anchor role already as a Sentinel. So this allows here for SAD Esports to have a lot of firepower and a lot of a much pointier tip of that spear.
Yeah, and okay, we are looking at like this head-to-head here, right, between Ferbza and Zeldris. The stats are really close. Zeldris a little bit more buffed up, but honestly pretty similar when you consider the bigger picture, with the fact that Ferbza has been playing the entire time during this split. Zeldris is really only slotted in for the last couple of games. So that kind of shifting things a little bit for them there. But overall, both of these teams also have like very heavy support backing them when you're looking towards how they're going to be set up by their teammates. They're very consistent in being able to assist both of these duelists in making that space, and it's kind of a cool head-to-head to think. I feel like 2 years ago, Ferbza was one of those like up-and-coming duelist players, newcomer to the scene, where everyone had their eyes on him as a really hot prospect that they thought could even hit that tier 1 level. And then now Zeldris is the young gun to be going up against him in this matchup, where it is a little bit of that rematch from the group stage of stage 3 as well, where they didn't get to face off against each other then. But now it's going to be a question of, okay, can Ferbza prove his worth up against this new hot and starting duelist player, or will Zeldris kind of now take that light as the rookie?
And I'm sure that with more time, like Zeldris and the squad are just going to look better and better, but it all depends on which map they go to. So let's check out what was picked, what was banned, and where we're going to kick things off on, because a lot of rays out of Ferbza, Zeldris having a couple games. SAD Esports choose to go to Bind. We have Blue Otter with Haven, Lotus as the decider. Vans, how would you say you're confident in either's chance? Which color blue is better?
I think they're just going to trade maps pretty much at this point for these teams. Both of them looking really good on a map like Haven. The only loss here that you kind of had on Haven from Blue Water is they had to play against rankers, and everybody lost against rankers anyways. But the composition coming out from like both of these teams still leverage a lot of tail around that. But there's, the composition that you have coming out here of SAD Esports on Bind is actually quite good in terms of how much stall that they have around the Deadlock, the Astra, and the Tejo. So that could be something very good to look out for. And I think that's what their strong suit is, in terms of being able to lock out the attackers when they're playing the defensive side first, which is why I'm not surprised to see them also comfortable here. I mean, it's still their opponent's map or side pick, but for them to start on the defense, I think they're happy with that.
We'll see if we're happy with our predictions, because I know I'm having a good start to my day, but I never like to celebrate when there's teams getting eliminated. But no one gets eliminated from this match, and everyone picked a blue team, but half of us went Blue Otter, half of us went SAD. Ash, what do you think? We're on the same team here.
We're on the same team, but if I'm going to be so genuine right now, it was really hard. We're already talking about how SAD and Blue Water are kind of in that same weight class here, how it is kind of this 50-50 in this best of 3. And I had a really hard time choosing between the two. I think I landed on Blue Otter because I do really like seeing Bob reprising her role on that initiator, even on, especially on that Tejo, where they're able to kind of lean a little bit more into the meta for her, and she's able to still like frag out and play for herself at times due to some of that utility. And then Zeldris just brings so much firepower, especially with that Yoru being able to slot in. That leans a lot more into the current meta that we're seeing right now in Valorant, with those repositions, that more proactive gameplay. It made me feel like, okay, this was the change that SAD needed, or sorry, that Blue Otter needed to make that step up.
And I think one change we may notice is in the initiator role as we go to our agents, because the last time we saw SAD, they preferred the Sky, but Blue Otter as around the breach. They've played with the Gecko, and we'll see what they land on, because you do have some room maybe to experiment at a 2-2 spot. Vans, initial reaction, we got Sky versus the breach.
Yeah, I think also Blue Otter pulling out this Astra, so they are playing a very similar, if almost mirror comps coming through, and the stall is going to be quite prominent for both. I think if anything, Zeke has the extra advantage here for Blue Otter because of that fault line, but they are lacking a lot of that scan capability or opportunities to find information in the earlier rounds, which is why, thankfully, Blue Otter starts on the attack side, so they do have great opportunities to get a lot of space here for Zeldris, but they have to convert a lot of attacking side rounds. If not, this should be SAD Esports' map to take.
Well, this is SAD Esports' choice. Hopefully, they're going to be happy after this one, unless Blue Otter want to push them to the brink. We're ready to get into map number 1, so let's send it over to Marks and Tenric.
Unremarkable winning, educational losing, and an uncertain ceiling. That has been the tale of the tape for months from both of these blue teams. But here, now is the moment to become red hot and run up that round differential, even if you lose. Seeding among the records for both of these teams inevitably reaching by the end of this match matters going into the following round. Marks, we spoke at length at the desk at how deadlocked this matchup is. Thank goodness these teams heard the message with their comp choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, just taking a look at what we're kind of going into here with, bringing in that Sky is going to be pretty interesting over the Astra. Not over the Astra, but over the Breach, because I do think that Breach is an interesting pick on this map. So I'm curious to see how Blue Otter are going to be playing around this. Historically, SAD Esports, they look really good on bind, or at least in this split so far. They've been pretty consistent when it comes to this map, so it makes sense why this would be their map choice. And, well, we're seeing the new age of Valorant come in here. It sounds like Deadlock and Tejo, especially on this bind map. It's gonna be Blue Water starting us out on the attack, leading heavily into Showers, but SAD just around the corner watching A main.
Yeah, we all know where this is going, the short length of short. That these teams love execing all this heavy util to on top of the deadlock mesh. It is so easy to confine and confound when this spike goes down in front of the truck. And it helps to have some Tejo util to scope it out early on. A salvo to prevent the early stage hands on top of a stealth drone thrown out by the attackers, but that'll prompt the shower attack just a little bit heavier, and Zostal will be the first to strike on favor of Blue Otter. Ferbs is able to wrap that up though, and so now it's just that one-pronged attack down truck that's able to make headway.
And just good awareness of SAD, understanding that once this is moving in, they might try and pinch in from Showers. They completely divert all of their attention there to make sure they take everyone out. Zeldris takes a lot of space, but Ferbs takes him out. Suddenly, this is looking nice and even.
Great angle to catch. Now the salvo is able to catch Ferbs on the runaway, so Tuzi takes that opportunity to swing as Bob attempts to escape, and now the rest of SAD will encroach onto Lamps and deal with Sean Dex. A solid defensive round to start things out. The Pistols won with 3 men standing.
Yeah, and once again, with how that round kind of played out, SAD Esports, they were doing a fantastic job. Once again, that awareness to know, okay, we've just traded a bunch of utility, all the salvos came out, all the stuns came out, so now let's just go ahead and punish that shower push, make sure that it's so much more possible for SAD to just really hold their ground. And the Blue Waters, they lost that pretty early on, meaning that they didn't have much to play off of. This time around, we're going to be seeing SAD Esports, they're bringing up the weaponry. They're ready to play as soon as we see the move in there. It's early salvos, an early stun, Dip just around the corner.
Zeke has actually gotten in front of it and does manage to get away with catching Dip, but now SAD can fortify this bathroom watch just a little bit heavier, and there's the double kill with Ferbs' Outlaw. Clean as can be. Blue Water still searching for whatever kills they can find before they are forced to pick up this spike and lug it over to a site if they so choose. Still plenty of time to find someone potentially lurking if you are lucky. That's why you'll see Zeldris taking his sweet time and Sean Dex working up the back here, seeing if anybody gets a little too greedy before we walk into our certain death.
And there was a lot of talk on the desk about Ferbsa and how Ferbs has kind of been this duelist that everyone has really had their eye on. And to be fair, we're starting to see that Spearhead really gets sharpened with what SAD are doing. I'm a big believer in SAD. I think that their utility and team play is extremely good, and they just need to, you know, clean up a couple of that gunplay. They can't have Ferbsa being their only top fragger. And lately, I've been really impressed with how they've been positioning themselves. We see a little bit of that trade from Tuzi and Ferbsa, just making sure they're both watching that same angle to make sure no one gets punished. It's little things like that that are really making me like this SAD Esports roster just a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. Dip got a lot of very worthwhile praise on the desk, but Tuzi has definitely been my standout player so far from SAD Esports over the past couple weeks. When it just comes to his positioning and timing, it's gotten so much better, particularly on this Astra. You can tell he's feeling a lot more comfortable with it. That being said, on the bonus round, Blue Water are going to get a lot more brave, and this composition still looks deadly as can be on the attack. They'll start with a 4-stack up the lane towards B.
Oh man, the firing squad is ready to play. Just hoping that somebody will just poke their head out and then just all the bullets will fly from all the different angles. But the sonic sensors are placed up. The B site is nice and insulated. This time SAD not getting a little bit too rambunctious. Barrier mesh now going to be deployed here. Blue Water want to move in.
Huge grab nade that Benji is forced to kind of skirt, and the salvos will continue to pressure him away. But Zerona, on the other side of that, is completely unfazed. It can now just spam into this grab that is thrown so beautifully. Ferbs is the one to fully complete, though, with a 3K on that showstopper, and he'll be the only one to fall in a huge bonus round pickup from SAD.
With the way that the Valorant meta has been shifting around, it's very explosive, to say the least, where you want to be just playing around things that go boom, especially with Tejo bringing in the salvos, making sure to zone things out completely. That's why we see an Astra on this map as well, because everything is just done in a combination of that. An excellent grab net cuts everybody in, they all get sucked into the twister and blown up by the bazooka.
That was sensor into grab net into gravity well. That's absolutely ridiculous, dude.
Just throw the guns away. We got the utility for it. But honestly, that's kind of the style that a lot of teams are starting to adopt. They want to use that utility either to deter or do a lot of damage or take people out completely so they don't even have to worry about it. We're already seeing Zeldris start to move in, but Tuzi's still holding up top.
Beautiful smoke covers so much space. That's the beauty of Astra on a site. It's tightened at his bind, but Dip still finds the cracks, the crevices, and Ferbso reopens it. SAD once again collapse fully from a distance. Zeldris the only one remaining in the lamps, and Blue's push is completely split in two. Zoe's still fun off angle. That's what he excels at more than anything else when it comes to the pushes for this team, but too little, too late. The guns are not there, and Blue Water has no way of reopening. Zeldris' util is already fully gone. Has to come down to Zolstal trying to bob and weave with these stars up, getting at least one more, but Ferbs has got the better gap and the better gun even still. Let's style on him a little bit harder and give the man 3. Let's go ahead and farm that showstopper by round 5. Why not? SAD Esports 4-0.
Oh my goodness me. I mean, even at that point too, Ferbsa literally just used the showstopper. Already has 4 ultimate orbs back online, 12 kills in the lobby. The next highest is Tuzi with 3. 4 times, but Ferbsa has just been in the right place at the right time consistently, is playing so intelligently off of this duelist utility, making sure to play off the raise stuff to get yourself into elevated positions, and on top of that too, looking for those little opportunities. Blue Otter, every single time they go in, it feels like they're just walking into the meat grinder.
SAD have been ready to intercept each and every time. Tuzi caught early by the grab net. Blue Water have to execute very quickly. Dip not caught. Yes, caught by the stealth drone, in fact, and suppressed. Stuck inside this smoke, and Zostal has to know it. But Blue Water, they have no reason to press this any further. They want to maintain personnel.
Now SAD will have this opportunity. 5v5 retake here.
Zo's implanted.
Looking for an opportunity.
Shower step out. Zoe's now alone thanks to that extra nebula and a nice angle caught by Dip. You have to re-step out quickly if you're Bobsta, and they're stunned. She has no way of getting back in Blue Water. Once again, they can't re-engage. Shondex has to full send it into lamps, giving Zeldris some space, but only room for 1. Ferbsa is trolling with a sheriff on the blast pack. Dip away. But that's because the rest of the team has got his back, hopefully, right? Double salvo to flush out Zeke. There's not enough time. SAD Esports, they threw themselves at the problem, and it wasn't enough. You've got to shoot 2.
The fools gave us a win.
You got to shoot 2, but you also too have to have some sort of semblance of what's going on or what the play is or something like that. It felt just a little bit scattered. Like the last 4 rounds, there was like the woohoo, we can do anything, we're immortal in this game. To suddenly, oh my goodness me, we're just running into their guns and we're just getting gunned down for it. Of course, there were a couple of opportunities where things looked a little bit dicey, but Blue Waters maintained that discipline, and they're keeping their head in the game to make sure that they can get these rounds. Zeke now has that Rolling Thunder online. On the other side, Dip does have the Armageddon, could potentially be used to slow things down, but really, it's this utility I want to see from SAD that really slows it down.
That's the interception they were waiting for. Rolling Thunder a little bit too late to the party, so Zeldris is already cut short, but Blue Water, they have a much easier execution now, and Bobsta, she's the one that gets going when that duelist is down. In we go and out we go. Blue Water get the plant down. Now the Armageddon on top of Lance to make sure Ferbsa can't execute early. So Puppy guarding that back door, making sure that SAD Esports are on low at all times. Zerona and Benji, the only ones remaining. Zerona have to open himself up, and good for only one. Nothing further from the push, and Blue Water, this execute on A is getting going.
Yeah, it feels like Blue Water now are anticipating just the speed that SAD Esports likes to play with, even on that defense. It's very like, you know, as soon as we get a hint of what's going on, we're just going to rush over there and run them down and use all the utility, really, to support that style of play. But I think Blue Waters are doing a better job now of using the utility to clear it out or at least stall them out, which is allowing for these easy opportunities where Bob can just go in and absolutely annihilate fools with that rifle in hand. And so, Blue Waters, they get 2 very decisive rounds back into their corner as this is looking a lot more close than it should be.
And now SAD Esports, with that lack of guns, they're forced to use their own ultimates after the dump from Blue Water in the previous round. Armageddon to try to take space, and they're going to work with it anyway. Ferbs are good for the one, but Shondex can wrap it up early, and Blue Water can still take the early half of the site. Dip gets inside this smoke and escapes with one, but Blue Water, again, it's individual plays and individual kills. That's as far as they'll get this time around. Other than that, the take is still secure.
Shondex looking to go fishing. Nobody's left even to get caught into the net. Now Zerona on the flank does have a rifle, but in this 1v3 scenario, and a lot of utility still available for Blue Water to potentially shut this down even further.
They just swing this. Sonic sensor tapped, so it'll only be one. Shondex, good connection on his own util, and the self-sufficiency of Blue Water continues to thrive when SAD Esports is relying on it at the wrong times. So now this gap is just 1 round strong. You do have your guns back as SAD Esports along with your ultimate, so your playbook is wide open. Warrants a great call for a timeout, so you have all of this stuff to look at. You just want to get all your ducks in a row.
Let's see what SAD can do, because once again, they were coming in with overwhelming fury. But Blue Water are getting the read on them now. It looks just a little bit cleaner coming in from Blue Water. They're not necessarily focusing on the micro, they're focusing on the macro. Clear out every single corner, make sure that it's going to be a disadvantageous place for SAD Esports to be able to do anything. SAD Esports, meanwhile, their utility usage is just simply focused on finding the kill that's in front of them. We're hoping at least that Firps is going to pop off. Got the Nightblood up against SR Black game. It's being broadcasted right now, and we're actually on map 3. A very close matchup between these two teams right now.
And the action on that stream won't be done after map 3 either. Core versus Trust and Plug will be happening on that B stream after this. So, as always, if you have the extra monitor, extra RAM, please do pull up the stream and catch another great match of VALORANT happen over here in North American Challengers. Tomorrow, we've got some more matches, too. It'll be the 2 matches to confirm our next 2 teams that'll get up into the playoffs. Qbert, YFP, M80, TSM, all playing for a spot. Should be some exciting matches on stream. Round 8, we're heading into here. Blue Water and SAD, the world at their fingertips. Blue Water has to play in 2 phases. SAD still trying to hold on to the 1. Immediately see that short push.
Here comes Ferbsa with the showstopper.
Mega early in blue. No real press on top of this, so Ferbsa has to go into the showers instead and still can't fully catch the kill. Shondex's backstep is just good enough. Zeldris will use his own showstopper to gain some space up lamps, but Ferbs is still playing the denial game and playing it hella well. That's 2 down as Zeldris tries to take that high ground. We're down to our pistols for a second. Zerona gets the free kill out of that one. And SAD have retaken over the site, with Blue Water having little to offer except that reopening as Zeke gets that cooldown back up with the fault line as long as nobody peeks. Now the TP into the B site, have to take down that mesh though, and Benji is able to waste more than enough time just for SAD to still feel confident with this takeover. Now a grab net to slow this down even more. Easiest kill in the world. Zeldris has to carry the world on his shoulders, and a great paint shells to at least allow himself to plant this spike.
That's going to be 3v1 though, and look at this. Already Zerona coming in onto Hookah. They control the smokes right now, so Zeldris in a very disadvantageous position.
3 for me.
Better now.
Way better. Only one way you have to look. He doesn't know it though. Here's the double step. Now he does know the double swing is coming, but he misses the second shot as well. And SAD will wrap it up with a neat little bow. Not a lot of ultimates that they had to contribute to that either. They have a lot that they can spend going forward, and the rest of this half, they may have found stability yet again.
I love explosions.
Yeah, a really important round for SAD, just to keep their heads back into it. You know, don't get too rambunctious, don't get too overheated or anything like that. Keep it nice and in control. Especially too, it does genuinely seem like the strategy might be, hey, Ferbsa, get like 3 kills and the rest of the squad is here to back you up. However, you know, it's the setups that we're seeing and these opportunities that they're creating for themselves to make sure that they really seal the nail in the coffin. Of course, Ferbsa is going to be doing Ferbsa things, is just kind of a lone agent going in there, John Wick style, looking for a couple of picks, and usually can deliver on those. I just fear, though, what happens when the Ferb gets shut down.
That has been what has stopped Sad so often, and kind of how the conversation has shifted when it comes to challengers in general of, can you still enable your star as effectively, or do you have to have everyone be able to work more independently? Quickly, the meta is shifting over to the latter as the skill ceiling increases here in Challengers. And Sad, the question continues to get asked, when are you stepping up as much as Ferbsa can? Because he continues to. Opening line of contact, of course, for this attack, so a bit unfair to say that Sad isn't doing anything just yet. That's kind of the point of this push. Tuzi will now activate as the smokes dissipate, and they should be able to retake this site. They've got brooms, they've got mobs, they've got easy ways to sweep this clean. Zeke standing alone on the boxes, and he is found shortly after. Good for the one, but no more than that. Sad Esports will make it a double up, 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of going in and isolating the targets and killing them. Blue Water, they didn't really have a chance to get set up into very comfortable positions. They looked a little bit scattered there. And then it's just Sad just going in and systematically dismantling them. Of course, Ferbsa being the person who's doing a lot of that dismantling, but the rest of the team as well. You can see them swinging together. They're playing off of one another and just doing those fundamentals so darn well. So Blue Water, it's a very awkward buy onto this round. I don't think we're going to really see a hero rifle. We will be seeing one into the hands of Zeldris, but they still have a little bit to go. Zeke is one ultimate orb away from getting that Rolling Thunder online. Zeldris as well getting close to the showstopper. But Sad, once again, they're comfortably cruising right now as they look to take yet another round.
Big stack on the front door of B site here. They're expecting Blue to push with this confidence they had in the stack back in round 3 now that they know Ferbsa doesn't have that showstopper. And it's a read that doesn't require much risk as you have so much deadlock util set up in Hookah that if Blue Water try to fast sweep you the other way and go for the undercut, then they will be very quickly stalled. First bird to confirm that Bobsta is looking at lane. Hey, wow, there's presence here when no one else is here. That's crazy, bro. And now we'll swing out on top of it. Benji first blood. Paint shells thrown into the mix here. Sad Esports will step back out and re-default.
Once again, just good utility coming out. The way that Sad uses that utility is, okay, let's go for a kill right now. Use the utility, let's go. Boom, got a kill. Okay, get out now. And it completely slows Blue Otter down. And look at this. I mean, sure, they're taking a lot of space. Zostal is all the way onto the safe site, but they're more or less committed. And Sad, they've got all the agents they need to be able to shut this one down.
And they'll even go for the bamboozle to make it even heavier. Ferbsa gonna get all that pressure, and with the hero rifle, he'll be the only real threat. But Zostal has not checked him. In fact, nobody from Sad has. Oh my goodness, that's 3.
Down A.
Go!
Such easy work here for Ferbsa by himself. A weak point for a moment, but completely unchecked. And it makes the round as easy as Sad were making it out to be in the beginning of it.
The aim trainers that time really working out. A lot of them, people are like, oh, aim trainers, they don't help you at all. But when you literally don't even have to take a step, fantastic. Ferbsa just annihilates them. Now on to 20 kills in this lobby. Nobody else has gotten to double digits except for Ferbsa, who has yet another showstopper online.
This is ridiculous.
Sad Esports, they're just flying forwards. Ferbsa definitely being the tip of the spear, and Zeldris might have overcooked on that one.
We are way too close to the issue here, and now it's Zeldris' turn to frag out. Showstopper into frag, into Bobsta getting hers too. Full-on assault on the hookah, and it all goes in favor of Blue Otter. Hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, my guy. You just gotta work with that sometimes. This should be an easy post plan from Blue, but Sad is gonna get in front of this early. Ferbsa gonna util dump before Tuzi lets all these stars fly. And of course he still gets an opening frag, because he's Ferbsa. Come on, man.
Finally, the spike's going to go down. A showstopper still available for Ferbsa. Cosmic Divide, if they think that this is going to be winnable. Given Zeldris' HP pool, all it's going to take is one kill, and Sad are going to be right back in.
They have 2 ults for this. At any point, they could choose to gamble for it, but this has to be
One
perfect. And
enemy
the first swing will already facilitate
Ah.
Zeldris to go for the 1-for-1, and that should be enough. Now you can unload all of your util and probably not have to use an ultimate if you're Blue Otter, making your round 12 look spectacular on paper. But Ferbs is still on the paper for an ace here if he's able to pop out enough. Zeke has to wait in the far edges of Garden, and this will be an easy half of the spike, will it not? Indeed it will. The gravity well does not catch Ferbs. He doesn't need 5! He just needs space! Are you
I am at
kidding
a
me?
loss of words right now, Tenrek.
Last round before the
Just
switch.
hides
at that
behind the
point-
box, too.
At
Wow.
that point, if I may be so brave, Zoe, at that point, I think you just give him the ace. I think you just walk in front of him after that, if I'm being so real.
This is the Ferbsa show. I have no idea what else to say beyond that. They don't clear, they don't use the utility properly just because the spike isn't planted in the right spot, and Ferbsa's still able to find Zeke on the way out. Unbelievable stuff. Ferbsa grabbing the rest of SAD Esports, putting those teddy bears into his backpack, and completely stomping Blue Water. Showstopper going to be online here, waiting for Zeldris to use it. Goes off, but finally the raid boss has been dethroned.
Zeldris able to properly discombobulate him. Tuzi, nice catch on the head to keep this even, but Bobster will refrag right back. Show your head and Blue Water will punish you. That's the mentality they want to try establishing going forward from here, certainly. Rolling Thunder spent because it can be at this stage to box out the shower push just a little bit, so SAD Esports have to fully go for the retake, which they will. 3v4, and you still have this deadlock ultimate too, for that matter, so you can open up any corner of the site as long as Benji is not kept shut. But that's exactly what Blue Otter's trying to do. Zeldris and Zostal getting in front of the problems and dealing with them nice and early, just like they should. Execution done the right way, and Dip is left alone. Salvo's in the shower. A tale as old as time. It's 4-8 on the half.
Salvo's in the shower. Is that really a tale as old as
Switching
time?
sides.
I guess it's a tale as old as Tejo.
Yeah, okay, that tracks, actually. That tracks. But yeah, it was the last round of the half, so of course we're going to be seeing everything just kind of tossed in there to try and salvage this round. But an excellent round from Blue Water. As soon as Ferbsa goes down, you can tell it's just like, all right, guys, we got to go. And go they do. Blue Water completely storm in onto the site. They push up into SAD's business. SAD are trying to pull the round back together, but are just simply unable to do so. And so we see them at this 8-4 half. Now it's going to be SAD on the attack, and given the teamwork and coordination we've been seeing them go in through, I'm curious to see how this one is going to be going. Ferbsa was pretty good at just kind of anchoring down a site alone. Going to be good for at least 2 to 3 picks. That definitely changes, especially when you have to fly into enemy lines. Benji not able to shoot the stealth out there, so Bob will have an idea at least one of these players.
Much more pressure being placed on Zerona, and moreover, Dip to open up Ferbsa and allow him to get to the places he needs to be. Doesn't necessarily need flashes. That's why Dip is going to follow Ferbsa more often than Zerona. He just needs to make sure that the corners that Ferbsa can't check when he dives in so quickly are occupied by anybody. That's the beauty of Tejo. Blue Water going to try and take the shower fight nice and early once they hear a little bit of action, and the Gravnet actually does catch one, but Shondex doesn't have enough confidence to sweep it because Ferbsa was able to skirt it. So SAD Esports ultimately win the util trade, but not the damage pool trade. They'll still walk into this A side a little bit scared.
Very slow as Zeldris is still just holding this angle. Ferbsa has to be the first person in. Needs to find that pick, or at least stay alive. The Salvos go in there, and look at that excellent combination utility.
Now that is a disgusting net to get us started here already. A space guaranteed, and so Zerona will walk right into it, try to overextend SAD's position here a little bit, make it a little bit easier for
30
this
seconds
retake
left.
to be undeniable, but a fault line placed on top of this cross-section makes it easier for Blue Water to engage from on high. The problem is SAD Esports, they just need on low. Lamp control is still so active, and they can just re-extend from there to go for the spike again. Zoe stole from heaven, keeping this nice and interesting. No, it's going to hold the spike plant as there's only 13 seconds to go, but we have to fight right after that, and luckily, he got 3-on-1 for that. SAD Esports taking another pistol.
Yeah, SAD now 4 rounds away, closing out map number 1. I mean, according to their statistics, they love this map, and it's very clear why. They just look extremely comfortable with their playstyle here. Obviously, that was just a pistol round, but beautiful utility where it matters. Of course, it's so easy to just focus in on, Ferbsa just killing everybody on the team. But at the same time, when they do get those combinations of utility coming out, it's so effective. That's why we're seeing that deadlock get utilized alongside the Tejo, utilized alongside the Rays even. There's just a lot of potential to get easy kills that will continue to allow Ferbsa to just take space and find more frags.
Which is already sniffing out like a bloodhound. Shondex alone for 2 seconds. Ferbsa tries to come in on it, and now there's so much in his way. Immediate punishment from all of the members of Blue Water seemingly, but Bobsta takes the credit. Sad will at least still escape with a decent gun, but this eco is still quite staggered, so Blue Water have to stay nice and careful as they'll restack up towards Hookah and make sure that they can get the same punishment going on the next unlucky victim.
And it's oftentimes, too, you'll see a lot of this utility just being tossed out there. And you might be wondering, okay, why do they keep on doing that? Because, you know, they see it every single time. And it's because you might get a kill. And speaking of kills, we're already watching for a quite aggressive fight happen onto this B side, although the spike already onto A.
Admirable re-engagement, but it's still from a distance, so even that half second that you might get on the drop, still not enough when Sad can just output this kind of damage. And the 2-stack with the spike is the important one anyway. They still have all the power. They still have all the cards. Dip is doing a mountain of work retaining these two individuals over on this side for as long as he is, because this round is still far too fragile for Sad right now. That should fix it, though. Shondex in the 1v3, classic in hand. No util, though. It should be said and done, as he's got to watch for Dip every step of the way.
It's important that they continue to keep these rifles into this next one. Excellent kill from Dip as well. The most expensive guns get carried over into the next. So sure, it didn't quite work out as well as they would have wanted. Keep everybody alive, and that way the bonus is nice and easy. But still, Sad are in a great position moving into this next round. Blue Water, though, you know, it's not over yet. We've seen teams come back from even more difficult score lineups. Let's see what they get. This is Ferbsa just getting absolutely trapped. Sometimes it's a formality, but you guarantee that kill on the Ferbsa makes it a much more possible round for the Blue Waters. Unfortunately, though, it's just this gun differential that carries Sad across the finish line. And already, engagement very quickly underway, but the mesh will slow things down quite a bit.
Dip is going to babysit Ferbsa a lot harder this round, so Blue Water know they can't go for nearly as proactive a punish game. Still, they do have all of this util dumping set up in the front so they can try to intercept as well as Ferbsa did on that defense. They understand that that is how Bind operates in such a fast metagame. Sad Esports, that's why they're window shopping, checking out the hookah space. This is one that they've taken very passive control over the course of this game on defense and offense already, really. And so Benji and Zerona rolling the tide. Not too much checking with util. They'll just waltz right in and actually intimidate Zeke off of that ledge.
It's gonna be close. So still going for the swing, able to find one, but Ferbsa trades right back. Spike coming back in, but now the smokes options are limited for Sad. Doesn't matter. Benji able to find one.
Such a guaranteed kill, but it takes everything you've got and the kitchen sink. No smokes available off rip here, but Benji can still trade off the immediate threat, and Blue Otter, the remainder is once again too slow.
Oh.
Just misses that. Once again, great punish that Blue Otter has been going for. So now the 3v2 full-fledged from Sad Esports. They should be able to cycle through this pretty easily. A stun nade at the moment, and then they'll get that salvo back soon after. Before that, we'll have Ferbsa able to peek this from the elbow tool. There's that first tap, first stun nade on the front line. Bobsta doing a great job of holding it down here. So now it's just a 2v2, wide angle taken, and Benji just barely holds advantage. And on top of the salvo, Zeldris just has to walk into it. Low health on both sides, really, but the double swing is well executed by Sad Esports, so they will carry away the bonus as well.
Yeah, Benji also gets 4 kills on that last round. One away from the ultimate for this deadlock. Sad Esports, they look just so comfortable on these engagements. And Blue Water, they had a couple of really good ideas there, but it's so difficult on these post plants, especially too given the compositions you're going up against. There's so much stall. The Otters try and get a little bit more aggressive, try to play a little bit more forwards, make Sad play according to their own tune, but it simply just isn't enough. The bodies alone alive at the end make sure that it is a Sad Esports round. Sad now just 2 away from closing out map number 1, and it's looking very dominant from them on Bind.
Util stack now on the B site here. Zostal playing a lot farther back towards the link so he can both rotate effectively and also not get cut short early like Sad has been able to do all too consistently. It's Ferbsa that's punished again off of the stack sweep, but Benji continues to light up, and this deadlock ult is going to be the final straw on this early B push. Two-man rotation from Blue Water is once again what will be coming towards this Sad push. But Benji continues to be on the tear, and this team continues to have options. They could rotate through TP if they really want to and start this all over again. In fact, that's exactly what they look to do. Two-man front, up the TP over to A site as Tuzi holds up the short line and makes sure that this two-stack is not split.
Zeldris, though, ready to receive it, finds a headshot on Zerona. Suddenly, Sad are questioning whether or not this is going to be the move, but given the time, they feel like they need to commit here.
Yeah, no other option at this stage, and so we're here for this fully fledged 2v2. Zeldris the dry peek, Tuzi the dry swing. The duelist is better at it. 1v2, but Benji's popped off. This would be an ace for the round, and so still faulty peek. Now the mesh available. He's going to place that on Heaven, but they're able to spam through the blocks and wrap this up. Blue Water up to 5.
Yeah, honestly, it was one of those things where you see Benji just go for the annihilation, close quarters, grabs Shondex out, and it's like, oh, we just secured yet another kill. That's awesome. And yet they don't want to move in onto it, just given the fact of where these reinforcements are. So they decide to portal out things. Nice close range annihilation just bouncing off the corner here. But it works out perfectly for Blue Water, because as soon as they realize that they're going around there, Benji gets into position. And it's that stall, that very first headshot that Benji... sorry, not Benji, but Zeldris takes, that makes it so that Sad are not able to move in as confidently as they were. So Blue Water, they stay alive. Fortunately, didn't thread the needle on that gate, so no one's gonna get caught in the Gravnet. And this time around, Sad, looks like they're ready to move in onto this A site. The defenders, though, feign some noise to make it sound like they're backing off. They still got a mesh in front of them that they need to wait out. They don't want to give their positioning up.
Yeah, Zill's still going to head back to Heaven instead of ducking back into Link like he did before. And this was already a stronger position on retake game anyway, so if Blue Water decide to take this, at least with an early clash, they'll have some good positioning for it. Tuzi will be forced to basically completely smoke this out. Armageddon tossed on top of this. Ferbs, the blast pack is a little bit faulty, so he doesn't get nearly as much space as he intended, but with a showstopper in Armageddon, I mean, the site's going to be clear, don't worry.
Yeah, it was definitely the Armageddon forced people back. The showstopper gets used just in case, but yeah, Spike goes down now.
It's wide off the truck thanks to the gravity well. Tuzi didn't reset that plant. So Blue Water could be able to find a lot more easy openings off of what is a much less safe Spike for the post-plant game.
Oh, Ferbsa.
Ferbsa, yeah, completely fielded out with that aftershock. There's Zostal's re-entry from Heaven. Good for 2. Prime real estate for that Cosmic Divide now, and Sad, they'll get active on front of it. And it doesn't matter what half of the site they control. It doesn't matter if it's a quarter of the site. They'll control it. 12-5, 7 rounds of room here on Bind.
Benji keeping his head on a swivel there. Knowing exactly where to look at the exact right time. Of course, other members of SAD, we're watching those different angles, but yeah, the grab, well, it just sucks them out completely, and so the spike gets planted in such an open, weird area there, and still not able to capitalize on it, but just an excellent job coming in from SAD Esports. This attacking round, attacking half, proves to me that Ferbsa doesn't need to be the only player doing things. Ferbsa is great at giving them an advantage, but is not the winning condition, because Ferbsa has been taken out for quite a few of these rounds, and SAD Esports, the rest of the squad are doing a great job at cleaning up after.
That being said, he's inches away from this 30 bomb and is now alone against a site with the fake on the Cosmic Divide. Blue Water, they are not keen to this fake as the entire rest of SAD Esports is over on the B site. How many people can Ferbsa properly backdoor? That question will be answered once the spike plant is actually confirmed. Blue Water's still not aware of how many members are here, and now they know Ferbsa is. That's one, and that's all Ferbsa will get. Rest of Blue Water on the scurry back, but Spike definitely down on B.
That should buy just a little bit more time. The salvos are ready to go. I wonder if SAD's play here is just to stall them out even longer. Oh, never mind. It's going to be a trap play. Benji ready to go with the net.
It misses the showstopper from Zeldris, still has some space. Sonic Sensor will catch him though, and so he has to let it go early. We'll catch Benji, but not before the refrag comes through. And Sad are able to make up for all the lost space and the lost Ferbsa. 28 is enough to get them over the line when the rest of the team is as good as they are, unless Bobsta comes up with the craziest clutch at the moment. Tap on top of the stun for 1. Now a 1v2 as Bob gets closer to Tuzi. Could potentially get sandwiched, but there's such limited time at this stage. It is far too late. Indeed, 13-5 from Sad Esports. One hell of a duelist, but one hell of a team in the end game. We'll go on to map 2 with Sad at the helm.
Ferbsa being the highlight player in that first half. But after that, seems like the rest of the teams, they pulled it up and said, okay, we got to show the world what we're made of as well. A fantastic job coming in from Sad Esports. We were starting to see a lot of their machinations of playing together as a team, using the utility in such fun combinations come to fruition. And it really feels like right now, this team is in their stride. It looked so good coming out from them. And then on the other side as well, Blue Otters, they were just struggling to really find those moments. Zeldris never really got an opportunity to go in and have fun, be that star duelist for Blue Otter, because I just think that Sad were doing an excellent job at shutting it down, mostly because of Ferbsa, but also too on the attacking half, thanks to the rest of the squad.
That's the really hard part of this, is Ferbsa dominated so much of the game that it's not like Blue Otter can take a lot away from this matchup. I mean, other than just targeting the duelist, you still ended up losing. There is so much to still learn as we enter this second map. Certainly a perilous position to be in, but if there's any team to beat it, it's Blue Otter. We'll see if they can beat the odds and the Sad Esports after this short break.
Dude, I'm going Vice Lock. If you're running Vice Lock, like the Vice Deadlock, and you stack a site with more than 3 people, it's D-Day for the other team. Like, and if you have 5, I mean, you may as well just save. Like, there's no way that you're gonna win on the T side. Like, you jump out, you're gonna get hit by Deadlock Nade, Vice Flash, Thorns, Vice Wall, Deadlock Wall weak side, so everybody's facing one side, you know, like, it's just not good. It's just not gonna be good, bro. Probably Breach as the initiator. Let's just make really sure. Like, let's make really sure if they're all coming up short on Bind that they're having no fun at all. Like, 0 fun.
I mean, shit, we gotta be playing Reyna, Clove. You gotta get those 2 in there for sure. Depends on the map. We'll throw in a little Jet. You know what I mean? We'll throw in a Jet there. We'll go Cypher. Gotta hold the flank. And our initiator, we'll go like Sova or Fade. We need to get the info.
We're gonna play Bind. Put B-Dog on Clove. We did on like Viper. And then you can put Bow on Chamber. Caillou on Sky. You put me on Raze.
I'd probably be like me and Bowie would probably be just running the duelists, Grapper on the initiator, Jordan on the Senti, or Ghost on the Sentinel, and then Kaiser just running some characters. It's just a double duelist comp.
So I'm playing Smokes, so I need to be on Clove. Clove is just so good ranked, best ranked agent. So I'm on Clove. We got Timo Tino, our duelist player. We'll probably throw him on, probably just put him on Jet. And then we got Snarly, Sentinel player. I'll probably just throw him on KJ. I think KJ is just like so good and ranked, or maybe even Cypher, to be honest. People don't break trips in ranked for some reason. And then Logan, I'll just put him on, he's my initiator player. I'll put him on Sova. And then Darkest to flex. I'll probably throw him on like a secondary duelist, like a Reyna, because it's ranked.
I want to see 4 duelists out of my teammates. 4 duelists right there, and I'll pick up the smokes. I'll do that. I'll let everyone room free. Yeah, let's see. There's Reyna, ISO, Yoru, maybe Phoenix for Stellar, I think. That'd be good.
Let's just run 5 duelists, honestly. I feel like that would be good. I feel like we would own on that.